Hi everyone, welcome back to the Draw Review, and apologies it's a bit late, but Newcastle United are back in the Champions League. Yes, I don't think it's sunk in for us right now. 20 years away from this, all the dross we've had to put up with under the Mike Ashley era, and the first full season with these owners and with Eddie Howe as manager, we've actually got Champions League. I wouldn't have been surprised if we got Europa League or Conference, but the fact we've got Champions League this quickly, man, I'm amazed. And, just thank you to the owners, to Eddie Howe, his coaching staff, and the players for making this possible. But we'll get into the starting 11 for the game against Leicester City. There was one change. Originally, Sean Longstaff in for Joe Willock. It's good to see Longstaff back. Willock, we knew wouldn't play. His season's done, I think, which is a shame because could have been potentially getting a call up for the England squad this afternoon if he wasn't injured. Sorry for that, but it is what it is. But Joe Linton unfortunately got injured in the warm-up, so Elliot Anderson had to come in for him. But getting into the game, it wasn't the best of games. Usually 0-0 home to Leicester City, who are in the relegation fight themselves. You'll be getting very frustrated, a bit like what we've had against Leeds, Crystal Palace, Bournemouth this season. But it's like it doesn't really matter because of the occasion. The fact we just need a point after Liverpool could only draw against Villa on Saturday. Almiron had a shot, which not a bad effort, but was never troubling Iverson. Anderson did alright, had an effort that Iverson held. We had the woodwork a couple of times in the first half. Burn won a header, beat Iverson in the air, and Wilson hit the post. Probably a chance he should have scored. And then there was a ball over from Trippier, headed down by Cher. Almiron hit the post. Then Isaac put the rebound over the bar. It was pretty frustrating. Second half, Longstaff was played in. Good save from Iverson. Leicester, you think, why have they not went in for Dubravka when they've let Schmeichel go? Because that would have been much better for Dubravka, being number 1 at Leicester, rather than being number 2 here or at Manchester United. But Iverson, much better game from him. I think really Leicester, they just came out for a point, which it's not really a bad result, but they're going to have to go for it against West Ham because if they don't win that game, they're relegated. Hit the woodwork again second half as a set piece, and then Bruno headed onto the post. Isaac had a shot that was saved pretty well. Leicester did have their only shot of the game later on. I think we had 22 shots to 1. It's like all those games you play on FIFA. You have all the shots in the world and you just can't seem to score. But it would have just been so typical with conceding off this. There's a ball in. Castagne had the volley. It was saved brilliantly by Pope. You're thinking, oh no, they're going to put the rebound in. Well, then we'll come away empty-handed and it'll go to the last day. But Cher cleared it. And, finished 0-0. And that is Champions League football secured. If we're looking at the table, 4 points above Liverpool with one more game left to play for each side. To be honest, I would have been pretty nervous, again, if we'd lost the game. Because even if we just need a point against Chelsea, you're nervous about that one. And then Liverpool, they could easily have it Southampton on the Sunday. Southampton already relegated. There's a chance they can catch Man United if Chelsea can beat them tomorrow night, which I'd like to see that happen. Hopefully we can finish both Man United, but I would think Man United will get a win there. But hopefully Chelsea win that game and then we'll beat them Sunday. But we'll talk about what Champions League qualification means. For myself, I never got to experience the glory days under Sir Bobby Kevin Keegan. Like, my best days, really, I remember, were 2009 to 2012, when we went from being in a mess, getting relegated to the Championship, to getting Europa League under Pardew. Unfortunately, just went tits up after that. And then also, Rafa Benitez's years. Just felt a bit depressing. Watching Bruce Bourne in lockdown after that. We just threw away a chance to do anything with Rafa. But then, after we get back into stadiums, we'll get the takeover, and we'll get this happening. And we'll get more money to spend as a result. Plus, there's probably going to be a new sponsor coming in, which will boost revenue. I think it's only 5 million a year we're getting off Fun 88. I don't mind Fun 88, but we need to move on from them. Get a sponsor that's going to get some more revenue. I think there's talks of £25 million a year kit deal. Sponsorship deal from a Middle East company, which would be brilliant for us. And of course, we'll get prize money for, our league position, and then revenue for when we do play in the Champions League games. TNT Sports showing the matches. That's what BT's becoming, by the way. But yeah, it'll just be some experience, and even if we finish third and go into Europa League, then it's still more European football to look forward to. But it would just be brilliant watching Champions League football for the first time. At the ground. The last Champions League game we played, I was 4 years old, and thankfully we'd have to go through playoffs like we did the previous 3 times. Because I can recall we lost to Partizan Belgrade on penalties in the playoff game. Fair enough, we got the UEFA Cup semi-finals after that. But that would have been pretty embarrassing if I'd been in the ground that night. But we'll talk about players to leave the club now. I've actually done an article for Newcastle Fans TV on the players coming to the end of their contracts, what's going to happen to them. But Matt Ritchie, he's won them out of contract. He'll be away. I think he's wanted away for a while. It's just a shame he's not going to get 200 appearances because of an injury picked up. He's played his last game for the club, and I think he'll want to move back down south. But I can definitely see him in a good match. He's already done a bit of coaching apparently with the academy. Gillespie's another one who'll go. I mean, he struggled in an under-23s game last season. I think, obviously, his contract's coming to an end. Matty Longstaff, Dan Langley, Kieran Clark, they'll all be out, I think, as well. Dummett, I think we'll have to stick around because of this locally trained quota. Because we've only got him, Sean Longstaff, and apart from players who wouldn't have to be registered for the squad. Obviously, Matty Longstaff and Dan Langley fit that, but they will most likely be away. Jamal Lewis, I think he needs to move on for the sake of his career, and hopefully we'll get a new left back in. Ryan Fraser, I think something's obviously up between him and Eddie Howe. I think he'll be wanting away. I mean, he's been sent to train with the under-21, so what does that tell you? I mean, Elliot Anderson's probably done more. I think I'd probably rather see Elliot Anderson than him this season. Jacob Murphy's overtaken him as well, because Murphy was getting so much slack at the start of the season from our fans, and rightfully so. But he stepped up. Mankio, I think he's another one that we'll be looking to offload. He's got a year left on his contract, and if we're going to get a right back in, hopefully Kraft will we'll see him in pre-season, because it's just a shame he hasn't been able to feature since the injury against Tranmere. Maybe we'll get a new right back and loan out Harrison Ashby. And speaking of him, I wouldn't mind giving him a debut on Sunday. After signing from West Ham. I think he would have learnt under Trippier. Maybe we'll loan him out because he would have to be registered for the squad next season. And that's if we're going to get a right back in and have Kraft as a backup. We've got Hayden and Hendrick coming to the end of they've been out on loan Hendrick's got a year left, so if we loan him again for a season, then his career's pretty much done here. He, I think, will struggle to get off the books, but hopefully we can sell him. But yeah, that's all I've got to say. Newcastle United, Champions League 2023-2024 season. The draw first. Bring on the draw on the 31st of August. And no doubt tweets on Twitter from Newcastle fans saying get on with the draw, because we see every time there's UEFA doing these draws and they just waffle on. But yeah, that's pretty much all I've got to say. Don't forget to like on the video, subscribe to my channel, check out my social media pages in the description below, as well as that article from Newcastle Fans TV. Thanks for watching the video, hope you've enjoyed it. Maybe next week, I don't know if I'll do a review of the Chelsea game, or maybe it's a bit of video on who needs to move on in the summer. I'll probably do the latter next week. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you later.